Yeah, my last name's Ferry, so you can imagine how it was when I was a teenager growing up. Joe mentioned that he had saved the taxpayers a whole lot of money, and one of the issues there for me is how do you do that as the auditor controller if in fact it's the board of supervisors that has to vote on these things? And I know that we have influence. That's why I asked Sherry Rafferty, what is the influence you have to make these things happen? Can each of you comment about what influence you think you have with the board to make sure that we end up with a tax roll that's less money next year than it is this year?
I mean, Mike and I are better trained financially than anybody on the Board of Supervisors right now. If Mike or I make the point to the Board of Supervisors that we simply can't afford to do something, or we need to set aside adequate cash reserves for a rainy day, because of our qualifications and background, I would think we'd have influence over the Board of Supervisors. I don't know if I'm answering your question. I'm quite proud of the county's work. In 2008, the County of El Dorado, and it makes me sick to do this, but in 2008, when the economy was dropping like a rock, we cut 100 positions at the County of El Dorado. In February of 2009, we eliminated an entire department at the County of El Dorado, the General Services Department. And those were very tough decisions. But when your revenues drop, just like in your household or my household, if your revenues drop, you need to cut spending. And that's exactly what we did in 2008 and 2009. And because of it, we've come out of this recession better than anybody else. Our county's come out of this recession better than anybody else in the state.
Yeah, I have to agree with that. The county is very financially conservative. The training as a CPA is really important, and I'm sure Sherry can speak with this as well. You're encouraged professionally to be skeptical. You're encouraged to be conservative. And a lot of things have to do with estimates, especially spending. Let me give an example of where we got it wrong, and not in this county, but we thought things would go up and to the right for a very long time. We'd always have more money. Everyone now is facing unfunded pensions. All of the municipalities, all of the different counties were all facing that because of very positive and unwarranted thoughts about how good things would always be. We have to be conservative. You got to reel back some of the ideas because there's always ideas about how to spend money, just like at your household. You have to figure out what's right and how to have some in the future. The $50 million amount that we have is a good amount, but we need a sheriff's facility. We need senior meals in Greenwood. We need all these different things. All those things compete. Policy-making decisions are made by the board. We have to reel them in.
Next question. Keep the mic, Mike. We're in the double entendre. But the next question is, the public library could be privatized. It would save a lot of money every year. Are you in favor of doing so? For instance, the city of and the county of Riverside have a private library. The city of or the county of Shasta and the city of what's the city up there? Reading have a privatized library. I've actually been in touch with the people running it and the friends of the library up there, and they just rave about it. They have more services than they've ever dreamed of having. And so can we do that here, and would you guys suggest that to happen?
Well, library is a huge community resource. There's things that the county can be good at, and there's things that the county doesn't have to do. I suggested a long time ago to the folks at Red Hawk Casino that they sponsor the bookmobile. It would be good public relations for them. It would take that burden away from the county. So I've kind of thought about this in the past. I wouldn't want to see a services decline, but if the services were at the same level, we were able to bring the library services to folks. And this is near and dear to my heart. My mom's a volunteer at the Pollock Pines Library, has been for a long time. And I don't see any reason why that wouldn't work if the services didn't suffer.
At this time, I don't support contracting out for the running of the El Dorado Hills Library. I think we should take a look at it, but I think there's other, the best example is the Public Defender's Office in El Dorado County. I believe we should contract out for the public defender's office rather than have a department. I would look at that first, and that's lower hanging fruit. So that's my answer.
Just as a follow-up to that, how much do you think would be saved by privatizing the public defender's office?
God, I looked, the DA and I had looked at that 5 years ago, maybe. Went back to, was when things were horrible,
Okay.
2008,
Yeah.
2009, and it was significant money. I mean, significant, and frankly, I don't recall. So I hate to guess numbers in public.
Next question. Joe, you're first here.
Okay.
What is your number one accomplishment as an elected official?
My number one accomplishment, what I'm most proud of, is frankly, being the only person in the room, and granted Sherry wasn't in the room that day, but I was the only person in the room trying to stop the increases to our CalPERS contracts. We have 35% cheaper retirement plan than they have at EID, or that they have at the city of Folsom. But what I'm the greatest thing I've done for the taxpayers is the savings that we're going to have over the next 30 years in CalPERS, because we still have a plan we can't afford, but we have a much cheaper plan than EID, Georgetown Public Utility District, or the city of Folsom has.
And Mike, in the private side, what is your number one accomplishment?
Well, the height of my profession is to do an initial public offering. As I mentioned, there's a lot of different things that CPAs do besides taxes. And the technical element, the dealing with Underwriters Council and all the technicalities of the SEC, the hardest thing you can do is take a company, package it, sell it to outside investors on Wall Street. And I helped lead that charge at Oratech Interventions. And in 2000, we were able to go public on the very last day, along with Krispy Kreme the same day. So we were just healthcare and donuts. But that's absolutely crowning glory. You'll see a little wax or a lycra thing on my desk that reflects the prospectus, because that's a crowning glory for a CPA.
Good. We're going to do something a little bit different right now, and I want you two guys to start thinking, because you're going to get to ask each other one question. I don't care what the question is. I've had people ask me to ask about personality issues within the workforce, and I've had people come to me from both sides, complaining about Joe or complaining about Mike, and I don't want to go there. I'm not going there with this forum. Thank you very much. So now that I gave you a couple of seconds to think about it, do you have a question for Joe?
Yeah, Joe, can you describe your management style?
Absolutely. I try to go out of my way to recruit the best and the brightest, and I delegate a lot of authority to them, and I let them run with it. The best thing about me is I have 5 or 6 people in my office that are more qualified than me to be county auditor controller. Because I hire people that are smarter than me and are better skilled than myself. And I delegate tasks to them, and I let them go to it. So, your turn. How good is your one? No, I'm sorry. Why did you wait so long to renew your CPA certificate, and why did you just change parties?
Well, that's a 2-part question, so good work on that. So let me answer the first one first. Takes 40 hours a year of study called continuing professional education. Attorneys have it, nurses have it, doctors have it, CPAs have it. If you're not using your CPA, you don't keep it current because it costs you more money to renew your license. So I was engaged in driving the forklift and making the best Syrah in the state of California last year, and I didn't need my CPA. Must be my wine club members out there. And so, it was a big investment of time to get 80 hours of CPA during the month of February when I decided to run. So the bags under my eyes are largely due to that. I haven't gone away yet. But if you set out with that, it's not just staring at a computer screen. I took tests of 165 multiple choice questions to get my CPA license. You know, it's a very much committed effort to make this work. Why did I switch parties? Because I get invited to more spots. Here's the real issue. I've been looking for leadership for a long time. I've seen the country take a very dangerous swing to the left. I'm not really happy about that. You can't lead or make changes from the outside. So that's why I'm here.
Hey, one last question of you. What are your thoughts about the IRS stand on tax exempt groups? And before you answer this, it took us 2.5 years to get our 501c4. And then the state of California sent us a bill as if we're just a standard C corp for $800 a year for 3 years, a little over $2,000. And today, the state said, get your form in here and we won't charge that to you. So my wife does the books for this group, and she was very relieved. And give her a hand. Let me tell you, she's been